Hi, I'm Jacob Brown, and I'm here to do my faith talk. When I first came here to Bellarmine, I thought of faith as something pious, something meant to describe what the most pious religious followers chased or had already achieved. Even though I had come from a Catholic background, I had not attended church regularly for about 6 to 7 years, and therefore felt as if faith was not something I could find. I never really questioned my faith as a freshman because, well, I felt as if I had none to question. Yes, I was baptized. Yes, I received my first communion. But I didn't feel any real connection to Jesus or any holy entity. I was simply wandering without aim. I still believed in God, but just never convinced myself enough to the point where I felt as going to church was an absolute necessity. Yet halfway through my second semester of freshman year, I started to question my faith. It was a normal day for me. I had gotten off the train and was waiting for my mom to pick me up. A homeless man approached me and started to talk to me. Remembering what I had learned from the Justice Summit at the time, which was poverty, I decided not to shy away from conversation and instead talk to the man. We had a very nice conversation until a police officer approached me and told me to come with him. He pulled me aside and asked if the man had asked me for money or anything. I said no, as he had done nothing of the sort. The officer then asked me to wait with him until my mom came to pick me up. When she arrived, the officer had a long talk with her, and then we left. When we got home, my mom told me what happened. The officer had assumed I was possibly involved in a drug deal. I was too stunned to say anything. Had I done anything wrong? But slowly realization seeped through the shock, and I was sickened when I realized the truth. The officer had assumed the homeless man was offering me drugs. Before I go on, I'd like to clarify the officer, while controversial in his actions, was simply doing his job. I don't harbor any ill will towards him as a person, as to simply working according to his protocol. I only take issue with the protocol itself, the idea that discrimination was institutionalized in the officers in accordance with their jobs. I'd always heard of discrimination on the news and seen some as a passerby in public, but this was the first time I'd really experienced it and been involved in a case of discrimination. From that day onwards, I began questioning everything. Was God even real? Why would he let such actions go unpunished? I never really found solid footing for my faith after that, and stumbled through the rest of freshman year and all of my sophomore year without finding any answers. I was lost, wandering, aimless. It wasn't until February of last year when I decided to finally immerse myself in meditation by going on a Kairos retreat. I wanted to find the answers I had been seeking for so long. After opening up through discussion, I felt ready to begin seriously contemplating the questions I sought to resolve. For 3 nights, while on the retreat, I meditated and reflected, yet found nothing. I wanted to give up at the end of those 3 days, but I decided giving up would only ruin the spiritual healing I had found for so many other of my issues. So it wasn't until the 4th day where I finally found my answer. On the 4th day, seeing how school work was coming soon and I had to go back to home and start working on work, I slowly began to shift my mindset away from reflection and onto stressing about work. Yet as I was lulling off during one of the last closing speeches, I remember the speaker saying the following: "Even if we are looked down upon for our actions or servitude, stand triumphantly and walk the path of justice." At that moment, everything snapped together. While I couldn't change how the officer was supposed to act, I could change how I acted. I realized that even if I was lectured for talking to a homeless person, I didn't have to revert back to following that ideology of looking down upon others less fortunate than me. I realized I could still talk to these people, regardless of how society may look upon me for doing so, and come out a better person, even if it contradicts the social standard. Since then, I've been more comfortable in talking with all people. If a homeless man or woman starts to talk to me, I will talk with them and have a conversation, not shy away and walk away, looking down, trying not to be embarrassed. For the first time in a long time, I finally feel as if I have found something close to faith. I have found how I can contribute positively to society in the image of God. My impact in the world doesn't have to be extreme, like starting charities or donating billions of dollars to help end poverty. All I have to do is talk.